Tired of feeling overwhelmed by the sheer amount of information out there? The 20-hour formula claims to have the solution, but does it actually work? Now just think, you need thousands of hours to master a new skill. Think again. Most people waste precious time on ineffective learning methods, and that's why they stay stuck. The truth is you're probably learning all wrong, but what if there was a 20-hour formula that could transform your approach and accelerate your learning journey? Let me tell you a story of a Shaolin monk, how his 20 hours formula changed his life forever. By the end of the story, you will get to know how you can change your life with the help of the 20-hour formula accelerating. High in the mountains, where the fog clung to the trees like a soft blanket, and the silence was interrupted only by the rustling leaves and the chanting of monks, stood the ancient Shaolin temple of Longwu. This temple was renowned not just for its skilled martial artists, but for its deep spiritual teachings that combined physical strength with the wisdom of the Buddha. Among the monks living there was a young novice named Wei. Wei had come to the temple as a young boy, eager to learn the secrets of the Shaolin monks. He was full of enthusiasm and had a natural curiosity that made him stand out among the other novices. His face flushed with embarrassment. It was at that moment that Wei noticed an elderly monk standing at the edge of the courtyard. Master Li, one of the oldest and most respected monks in the temple, had been watching Wei's practice. His eyes, though aged, held a warmth and kindness that seemed to look right into the soul. Master Li approached Wei with slow, deliberate steps, and a gentle smile spread across his face. "Wei," Master Li called in his calm, deep voice. "Come, walk with me." Wei, still feeling the sting of his failure, hesitated for a moment before nodding. He followed Master Li through the courtyard, past the rows of practicing monks and towards a small, secluded garden that lay behind the temple. This garden was a place of tranquility, filled with lush greenery, the scent of jasmine in the air, and the soft, melodic sound of a stream flowing nearby. Master Li gestured for Wei to sit down on a stone bench under a blooming cherry blossom tree, its petals slowly drifting down like soft pink snowflakes. Master Li settled beside Wei, his gaze fixed on the gently flowing stream. "Wei," he began, his voice as soft as the breeze rustling through the leaves, "I have watched you train tirelessly. You are dedicated, but I see the struggle in your eyes. Tell me, why do you think you struggle so much?" Wei looked down at his hands, his fingers still trembling from exertion. He let out a deep sigh. "Master, I try so hard, but it seems like, no matter how many hours I put in, I can't get it right. The techniques are so complex, and I feel like there is so much to learn. It's overwhelming. I want to be like the senior monks, but it feels impossible." Master Li nodded, a knowing look in his eyes. "The weight of wanting everything all at once," he said gently. "It is a common struggle, not just for you, but for many who embark on the path of learning. We live in a world full of wonders, and our hearts desire to grasp them all at once. But tell me, Wei, have you ever heard of the 20-hour formula? Wei blinked, clearly puzzled. 20 hours? He repeated. But Master, how could 20 hours be enough for anything truly meaningful? Surely true skill takes thousands of hours to develop. Master Li smiled softly. That's what most people think, he replied. They believe that mastery is only for those who dedicate their lives, who give thousands upon thousands of hours. And while true mastery may take a lifetime, what if I told you that you could become competent, even excel beyond where you are now in just 20 hours? It is not about shortcuts or tricks, it is about a different approach, one based on focus, mindfulness and intention, principles that the Buddha himself spoke of. Wei's curiosity was piqued. He leaned in closer, eager to hear more. How, Master? He asked. How can 20 hours be enough to accelerate my learning? Master Li picked up a small stick that had fallen from the cherry blossom tree and began drawing a simple circle in the dirt before them. Wei, there are 4 steps to this formula, he began. First, you must deconstruct the skill. Break it down into smaller parts. Each skill is like a mountain, but that mountain is made up of many individual stones. Instead of trying to conquer the entire mountain at once, focus on mastering one stone at a time. In martial arts, rather than trying to learn an entire complex form, break it down. Learn the stance first. Focus on your breathing. Master the balance, one step at a time. Wei nodded thoughtfully. It made sense, yet he realized how often he had tried to learn everything all at once, never giving himself the chance to truly understand each component. Second, Master Li continued, drawing another smaller circle within the first, you must learn enough to self-correct. This means you do not need to be perfect before you start practicing, but you do need to know enough to identify your mistakes. The Buddha teaches us that awareness is the first step to transformation. When you become aware of what you're doing wrong, you can adjust, adapt, and improve. Wei thought back to his training. Often, he had tried to mimic the moves of the senior monks without fully understanding them. He realized now that he needed to focus on understanding enough to correct himself, rather than trying to replicate everything perfectly from the start. Third, Master Li said, drawing a line through the center of the circles, is to remove barriers to practice. Distractions, doubts, fears, these are the barriers that keep us from fully immersing ourselves in our learning. If you wish to make the most of your 20 hours, you must create an environment that allows you to focus completely. This means not only clearing physical distractions, but also clearing the mind. This is why we meditate, Wei, to remove the barriers within so that we may be fully present in the task at hand. Wei closed his eyes for a moment, reflecting on how often his mind wandered during practice. He thought of the times when he compared himself to others, or when his thoughts were filled with doubts about his own abilities. These mental barriers had been holding him back more than he realized. And finally, Master Li said, his voice filled with gentle encouragement, the 4th step is to practice intentionally for at least 20 hours. Not half-heartedly, not while thinking of other things, but with complete dedication and focus. 20 hours may not seem like much, but when those hours are filled with purpose and intention, they are more powerful than countless hours of distracted practice. Consistency, Wei, is what will lead you to progress. Wei listened intently, and he felt as though a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. Master Li's words seemed so simple, yet so profound. For so long, Wei had been caught in the cycle of striving for perfection, of wanting to achieve everything at once. He had forgotten that the true essence of learning lay in the journey itself, in each small step, each moment of focus and awareness. Master, Wei said softly, his voice filled with a newfound sense of hope, I think I understand now. It is not about trying to conquer everything at once, but about breaking it down. Being mindful, removing distractions, and practicing with full intention. 20 hours. It suddenly seems possible. Master Li smiled, his eyes twinkling. Exactly, Wei. The journey of learning is not measured by the time you put in, but by the quality of each moment. It is not the number of hours that matters, but the presence and focus you bring to each hour. Buddha taught us that what we think, we become. If you think of learning as a burden, it will weigh you down. But if you see it as a series of small, mindful steps, it becomes a journey of joy and discovery. New mindset. He broke down each technique into smaller components. He focused on understanding his mistakes, on correcting them with awareness. He removed distractions, meditated to clear his mind, and practiced with full intention, 1 hour at a time. And slowly but surely, he began to see progress. The movements that had once seemed impossible began to feel more natural, more fluid. The frustration that had weighed him down was replaced by a sense of purpose and joy. Wei discovered that true learning was not about rushing towards an end goal, but about embracing each moment, each step along the way. And in just 20 hours, Wei had moved farther along his journey than he ever had before.